Nicole Carter, welcome to Green Sunrise Podcast on this Friday night, by the way. I didn't think we'd be doing this a Friday night, but you know what? Me and you have spoken about this in a wee while. We've been trying to get this conversation happening for ages now. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you? Hi.
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm really good. Me and you were speaking about a podcast I done last night with an episode with a guy called Jerry Taylor, Wee Wido, and Brian Mitchell, and
Mhm,
it was a really good interview, and it
mhm.
was it was very good and tough, but it was very it was a massive interview last night. So this morning when I got up, it was like it took me a wee while to get up this morning after doing that interview last night, but. Me and you have been speaking about doing this for a wee while now, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Now, I've seen snippets of that interview that you're talking about on your YouTube and on Instagram. And
Aye.
yeah, wow, amazing stuff.
Yep, and I've got your book
Yeah,
as well.
mental health and
So
fitness.
a wee plug for your book.
Thank you.
Better mental health and fitness. Now I've only started reading wee bits yet, but obviously me and you have spoken about that. I've been that inundated, but that's bad of me because I should know more about the book. But it's not really about the well, it is about the book, of course, that we're going to speak about tonight. But uh, I'm going to just ask you straight off the bat, who are you? What is it you do? And all that jazz.
And all that jazz.
And all that jazz.
Jazz hands. I did actually used to do dancing when I was younger, a bit of jazz as well on tap. Anyway, yes. So I'm Nicole. I am 40 something. Not going to declare exactly
No worries.
how far along my 40s I am.
No props.
Um,
It's just a number. Doesn't matter.
I know. Although in saying that, actually, I do feel kind of more sorted now than I've ever been.
Right?
Anyway, so yeah, 40 something. I am a nutrition advisor for a mental health organisation. Just started recently. We're on a break for December, so coming up, and then starting back in January. So that's cool. That'll do me. I'm bipolar type 1 and I've got CPTSD. So yeah, life's been interesting, shall we say, in inverted commas. It's just there's been lots of stuff that's happened.
Yeah.
Traumatic stuff mixed in with good stuff, mixed in with horrendous stuff. It's been quite a journey. But yeah, I like to think that things are getting back on track now.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
think what's made a massive difference is accepting the love from my family and the support from my family, because I tried to do it on my own and it just it just didn't work. Trying to do everything on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of say, like get my family to realise I was kind of this rebellious. It started when I was a teenager, rebellion, kind of I can do this on my own, I don't need your help, I can be independent, I can be, worthy of respect without your help. But in my later years, I kind of realised that, actually I do need them. I do need my family, and they make a massive difference. And I mean, I'm just full of love for them now.
Yeah.
And I'm
I.
just so glad of their support. And
Yeah.
yeah, so accepting that I needed them or that I need them has been a huge step forward. I have to say, I'm proud of myself actually, because the perseverance. I mean, there's been times when, yeah, I've been suicidal and kind of almost achieved that final goal. But I'm glad I didn't. I'm really glad that I've lived to tell the proverbial tales. Um, yeah, so that's me. That's
Yeah.
in a
So
nutshell.
so you've came back from I would say a horrendous year in most people's eyes, with the loss of people in your life. But
Mhm.
to kind of explain to people what CPTSD is first of all, and then kind of bipolar one, because obviously a lot of people know what that is, but there's still a lot of people. I like myself. I could put myself in that bracket. I still don't really know what it is, apart from googling it and doing stuff like that. But in your eyes, what is it to you?
I think I said to you earlier that I try not to kind of read books or kind of Google too much about conditions, because then it'll just give me more to worry about.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I said to you, oh, it'll make me think, oh, I should have that, or I should have that symptom, or this symptom, or whatever. And I don't want to do that. I try not to think about it too much, and I just get on with life, really.
Mm.
But basically, it started off with a period of homelessness. That was kind of the start of things falling apart. I ran away from home, at the age of 21, 22. Worked abroad in a different country, 3 part-time jobs. It was horrendous.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really hard. But this is what I was saying. I was trying to kind of put my stamp on life and say, look, I can be independent. I can succeed without my family, without help from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the start of the kind of bipolar happening. Before I was diagnosed. And actually, in saying that, when I came back, I was homeless for a while in hostels and stuff. And because I didn't want to go back home to my family.
So,
Um,
tell me this, Nicole, was the bipolar, was it diagnosed before you ran away, or was it after you ran away? Did you run away then come back? What was the situation?
so I ran away, stayed away for a few months, then came back, was in the hostels. Then my family reconnected with me. They found me, basically. They'd been searching high and low for me.
Mm-hmm.
And they found me in a hostel in Edinburgh. And I went back home, and then things just started to unravel even more. And I got more and more unwell, and I was kind of put, and I use that word very honestly, I was put in hospital because I was that unwell. And I was just suicidal. I
Wow.
was hell bent on just, ending it. It was just horrendous.
So
And it
this
was
is this.
really,
What age were you here? What age were you this time?
so this was the later part of 97, early part of 98. So I would have been 22
Right.
years old. So it's a long
Wow.
time ago. But anyway, so yeah, in hospital, which was absolutely awful. I mean, I have to say that a lot of the kind of stereotypes and kind of, sort of images or, sort of like stories that you hear about, psychiatric hospitals are actually as bad as that is actually as bad as it is,
Mm-hmm.
if not worse. But yeah, things have improved. I want to put that in very quickly after saying that. Things have improved a great deal. So, the mental health services, I think what is making a big difference, people are opening up. The mental health system is a hell of a lot better. Services are a lot better. And people, there's less of a stigma, I think. I mean, there's still a stigma around, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't talk about it. It was like, oh, did you hear, behind, the hands, kind of, sort of really kind of, it was a taboo subject.
Mm-hmm.
People
Yeah.
were embarrassed to actually admit that a family member was unwell mentally. But
Yeah.
now it's getting so much better with people being more open about it. I like to think that that people like myself, who do talk openly about it, and people like yourself who's talking openly about it and encouraging other people to kind of get it off their chest and kind of be open about it, for the benefit of other people. It's fantastic, and
Yeah.
it can only mean a good thing. It can only be a good thing. So yes, so mental health services have improved a lot. So basically, first diagnosis was actually schizophrenia.
Wow.
I know, yeah, and oh God, when I heard that, it was like, this is awful. But actually, the psychiatrist said to me, you know, you'll have a 70 to 90% chance of getting Parkinson's disease because of this medication. So that
70, 90% chance.
of getting it developing into Parkinson's disease, and that just terrified me. So I always used to come off my meds even when I was at hospital. Anyway, so I could give you my life story, but I'll try and keep it succinct.
No,
So,
no.
so basically, I would keep coming off my meds and getting unwell, going back into hospital,
Yeah.
homelessness, higher education, work, paid employment, paying my taxes. It was a vicious cycle for a long time. So basically, the last time I was in hospital was 2015. So that's what, 8 years ago. That was actually after a rape.
Sorry,
That
that
was
was
after a
after.
rape. Yeah. So that was the last time I was in hospital. I was in hospital for a week because I'd met this guy online, and yeah, so it was
Right.
just horrendous. But anyway,
Yep.
so 2015, last time I was in hospital, and touch wood, I never have to go back in. But yeah, the
Yep.
first diagnosis was schizophrenia, and then that was in 97, 98. And then basically after another period of mania and just running all the time, just running every single
Yep.
day, 6 o'clock, boom, up, not sleeping, up 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I'd lie in bed, not sleeping, but still get up at 6 o'clock, go for a run, at least 3 miles, yeah, every single morning. I was doing various different higher education courses, or trying to.
Yeah.
So very active outdoor activities stuff, like climbing, kayaking, mountain biking. I was also doing an aerobics course to be an exercise to music aerobics instructor. So the mania was really bad by this point. Yeah,
Mhm.
on the go all the time. So that, because bipolar is sort of manic depression. So you've got
Yep.
the high, so you're manic, you're like really active and like really, it's kind of an exhilaration,
Yeah. That's right. That's
but
right.
then if it's not dealt with, then it can tip over into psychosis. So that's
Right.
like hearing a voice, hallucinating, and that's usually because when you're that manic, because your brain has got the dopamine and serotonin pathways damaged,
Mhm.
you don't sleep, And I mean, for over a week, 2 weeks sometimes, which
Mhm.
is so dangerous in itself, you know, that basically that for anyone, regardless of a diagnosis, would turn into psychosis. I mean, you hear about this, there's people, sort of in survival situations that, they don't sleep. So then it turns into psychosis. But
Okay.
that's basically what bipolar is. It's like the fight or flight response is just firing, firing, firing. The mania is you're just on the go all the time. And I'm not just talking about relatively active or even very active. I'm talking about actually manic.
Yep.
As I said, you don't sleep. So then, that can turn into psychosis. And then it just snowballs out of control after that. And basically, I know I had to be hospitalized because I was that unwell. I was just constant. I wasn't sleeping, and
Yeah.
hearing a voice, hallucinating, blah, blah, blah. And it was all sort of basically just inward looking to myself all the time. It was just, just wanting to
So,
die, basically.
so what I've got is you were given, you've been given a diagnosis, right? But
Mhm,
you've also been given a medication, and they're telling you the medication is going to is really that it's going to make you have Parkinson's, right? And then you're not taking the medication because of that. And then what's happening is it's a vicious cycle because you're not taking that. You're going through
mhm,
these manic episodes, and
mhm,
you're keeping fit, but at the same time you're looking for answers and you're looking to build knowledge so that you can help yourself, because that's what you're always going to do. You're going to do this to help yourself, and
mhm,
but at the same time as you're fucking burning the candle at
mhm,
both ends,
mhm.
really. And
I've accepted that now the medication. I'm on a very low dose of tablets, and
Mhm,
it does help.
mhm.
Um, I mean, medical science improves all the time with all the research and the
Yeah,
funding that goes into it, and medications improve all the time, and they're actually developing all the time and finding better ones. Although lithium is the gold standard apparently for bipolar, for like the the mood swings to kind of alleviate the mood swings. I'm not on lithium, I'm on a different one. I'm on one for anxiety and depression, and it really does help. But it's a very low dose, and that's what I need just now.
Yeah,
it's fine, and it helps. But there's so many other hints and tips. I was saying to you before about the hints and tips that help me kind of manage my day-to-day life.
I take it all this information's in your book.
Yes.
Yes. So that's my question. So obviously this is the real reason for this, because you've found that you've been on a journey, and then you've documented it. You've put it into a book for others to understand. Now I'm raging. I've not read the fucking book before this interview. Because
it's fine.
But it's good. But it's good though, because now I'm aware of, actually it makes sense to. So me and you had a situation where I had interviewed somebody with bipolar type 2, if you like, and I only got a snippet of the video out. It was my friend Vinny, and Vinny was like, he was telling his story, but you only seen a snippet of it, and it was like, for you it was triggering, most definitely, right? But so in a sense it was like, that's my fault for putting it out, because I shouldn't have put it out for when it was like that, and not realizing what the fuck it is that you guys have to deal with. Do you know what I mean? And I think so that makes a lot of sense now, because now there's a real story. Not that there wasn't a story, but you know what I mean. Now there's a real story about why that triggered you, and for me, that's why I need to become better at doing what I'm doing with this scenario.
The thing is, I think no, you're doing really well, Paul. Seriously, and I think it's invaluable. It's just absolutely, you're worth your weight in gold. What you're doing is fantastic. It's helping so many people. It's given people a platform to talk about their issues, and I mean, I think because of the misconceptions of many different conditions, not just mental health conditions.
Yeah.
It just seems that mental health conditions, there is that edge of, oh God, psycho, which
there's more to it. Yep.
Oh God, yeah, of course.
There's way more to it.
If anything, it's been you're more of a danger to the person who's got the mental health problem. For certain conditions, you're more of a danger to yourself, than anyone else. For me, anyway. But yeah, I mean, the book doesn't really go into my story.
But even though, but it does give you the stuff that you've found that's helped, really.
Exactly, because I am qualified. Amongst all of that, I managed to get my level 2, then my level 3 in fitness and nutrition.
Yeah. Right.
To instruct gym, aerobics, or exercise to music, and circuits, and then be a personal trainer. So amongst all of that, all the things that were happening, I managed to get my qualifications. And so basically, it goes into a little bit of my story at the start. Not much, but so basically that book is about the things that I have found through trial and error, in different phases of illness and wellness, being very unfit, being very, very fit, being manic, and just, so it's the things that I've found that have kind of grounded me and helped me to kind of feel better, because there's such a huge link and an important link between food and mood and hydration and all this, I mean, there's so many things that you eat or don't eat that make a huge difference. So for me, basically, what I was taught in the personal trainer course to instruct clients was that eating every 2.5 to 3 hours during waking hours. So you have, I know it sounds a bit bonkers, but so breakfast, and I personally have found that a savoury breakfast is really, really good.
Right.
No milk in the morning, no dairy in the morning, no bananas in the morning because they contain tryptophan, which makes your body produce melatonin, which makes you sleepy. So I don't have milk or banana in the morning, but I tend to have a savoury breakfast,
Right.
like
Okay.
an omelette, 2-egg omelette with smoked salmon trimmings, the veg that I'd kind of roasted in the oven the night before for my tea, whatever
Right.
left over, the veg from that
All right.
for a breakfast. So every 2.5 to 3 hours, breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, mid-afternoon snack, dinner, and a light supper 2 hours before bed. And 2 hours is so important because if it's nearer to bedtime than that, then you can get disturbed sleep and acid reflux when you're in bed because you're lying down. If you think about it, your body is just not meant to be digesting food, too soon before you go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what I would say is that that's made a big difference because basically when your energy levels are so low because you're hungry, you're going to eat anything. So, it's going to be all the rubbish. It's like, if you deny yourself these treats, I tend not to have too many treats, but, I don't deny myself them.
No.
So the eating every 2.5 to 3 hours means that your energy levels and your blood energy levels are actually at a good level that you're not going to overeat on the rubbish.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you're going to actually have a better kind of, you're going to be able to be more focused, be able to concentrate better because your body's not going, oh my God, I'm so hungry. This inner voice, it's like, eat something, eat something, eat something. Basically, that's to do with cortisol, leptin, and ghrelin, which I don't know much about, but the cortisol is the stress hunger hormone.
Right.
So that's in the book. I've got a bit about cortisol. And leptin is the hunger hormone. So when you eat every 2.5 to 3 hours during waking hours, I have to, kind of emphasize that. This applies to working shifts as well during
Right.
waking hours. So when you do that, it means that your body's not going into the sort of hunger stress response of retaining calories or retaining fat, and it's going to make you feel better having that even level of energy throughout the day.
Right.
Another big one that everybody knows about is caffeine. So I'm on
Yep.
decaf since I switched to decaf. Seriously, what a difference that's made.
Nicole, I need to tell you something. See,
Well,
see I've been watching, and I've been listening to, and I hope this doesn't trigger you, by the way. I've been listening to Barbara O'Neill and watching her stuff. If you don't know Barbara O'Neill, she's an Australian natural remedies, and I think you'll very much like her. And she talks a lot about how much water that you're drinking, but the fact that your caffeine, you shouldn't be drinking much caffeine. Now, people who drink coffee, they're only going to agree to that. But see that this week, I've chucked it the last. I've not drank coffee in the last 3-4 days,
mhm,
and it feels better. Actually, as in, I don't feel as I was going to use the word manic there, but I don't feel as uptight and
mhm,
and stressful as in you know that way you get when you're on coffee, you're on
mhm.
caffeine, and you're just like you're up, you're constantly feeling like you're
Buzzed.
up.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get to sleep at nights anyway, but recently I've been
Mhm.
getting to sleep no problems, and it's because I dropped
Right.
caffeine. I just dropped caffeine. So,
Mhm.
and that's what Barbara O'Neill was talking about this when I was watching Barbara O'Neill, and I'll send you some of
Brilliant.
the stuff I've been watching. I think you'll
Mhm.
love her as well because it's very similar to what you're doing. These natural kind of remedies and stuff.
Brilliant. No, that does make sense.
Aye.
It's made a huge difference to me since I went on decaf because I'm not as kind of strung out through the day. I do sleep better, and
Yep.
the acid reflux as well. I mean, I used to have to take omeprazole quite a lot.
Right.
The gastro-resistant kind of. It's like the sort of what the doctor gives you instead of Gaviscon. You know,
Right.
So I
Right.
want to take that quite a lot because of the acid reflux, but I don't have to take it as often now. The only time I have to take it is if I've had a curry.
Aye. Aye. Of course, and that's always going to be the case. I
Yeah,
had.
yeah,
I grew up in a house that took Gaviscon all the time. My mum and dad took it all the time after.
yeah.
curries and obviously a drinking habit or whatever they're going to do. But I remember my dad taking Gaviscon all the time when he was here. Do you know what I mean?
It's not so good having to take it all the time, and it does
Oh.
say not for long-term use on the packets.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Yeah, well, I say all the time. It's just for me. I just remember Gaviscon being something that they would hand. I don't know how long, how many times. I was very young, to be fair, but I always remember Gaviscon being like the remedy, the magic pill or the magic kind of wee bit that they would take. The wee discs in it, Gaviscon, the wee discs. So I remember it well.
Yes. Oh no, I used to have to take them, and then my mum. It was actually my mum that said to me, "Speak to your doctor about getting omeprazole."
Right.
This is not, I'm not a doctor. I'm not prescribing anything, but
No, definitely.
generally there's different brand names for the sort of antacid type stuff that you get that the doctor gives you. But anyway, so I don't have to take that as much now. Sleeping better, feeling better throughout the day. Keeping hydrated, because coffee's all not coffee, but coffee. Caffeine's a diuretic.
Right.
So it makes you pee more. So you then have more coffee, and it's a vicious cycle for a few reasons, because you're getting that high from the coffee, you're getting the buzz from the coffee, and then you get the really bad crash. So you have another coffee, so you get the buzz, so then you get the crash, so then you have another coffee, and it becomes a vicious cycle. And that's exactly the same with sugar as well. The sugar vicious cycle. And it can basically, sugar it should be limited in your diet. And it's such a difficult thing to come off. Because I started this new job, you're going to find this funny. I bought myself a box of chocolates.
Right, okay. As a wee reward, of course.
Exactly. It was like half gone in one day. It was terrible.
Too easy.
This was just a few days ago.
I'd be the same. Too easy.
Oh my God. But and then I said I was very strict with myself. Very strict. After that half box of chocolate, I'll have half the next day.
Aye.
But I've not been feeling right since. I've not been feeling right since. I'm like, oh, I could do with a Snickers bar or something like that, another bar of chocolate. I'm like, no, come on. So actually, I really had a good word with myself, because I was sitting today thinking, I'll just nip, because I've got a shop just around the corner from me. And I said, I'll just nip to the shop and get a Snickers bar. And I'm like, no, I won't.
It's too easy.
Far too easy, because the shop's just around the corner. Yeah. And so I thought, no, there's a pot of fruit in the fridge. So I just had that. It was like grapes and strawberries and raspberries and blueberries. And that satisfied my sugar craving. Seriously, it did. I mean, because the glucose in like chocolate bars really spikes your energy, but then you get this massive crash.
Yeah.
But the fructose, and it's high glycemic index. Do your research. Anyone who's listening, do your research into the glycemic index. It's very useful.
Glycemic effect?
Glycemic index. And it tells you what foods are low and medium glycemic index, or GI as it's kind of abbreviated to. And basically the low and medium GI foods are best for you, because they've not got refined kind of sugars. They're whole grains, mostly fruits, veg. And the high glycemic index, the high GI foods, they're lethal. they're like, they're like, it's all the things that you everyone knows they shouldn't have, but are quite addictive, because they've got this really sort of like they give you that hit, and then you kind of crave more when you get the crash. Anyway, the glycemic index is really useful, and it's what diabetics are instructed in.
You've got it in your book here?
Yes.
The table from the glycemic index?
Yes.
Right.
So that's actually it's a very useful thing. But so, it's. I think most people know where they're going wrong. It's just sort of pushing yourself and being strict with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think basically that whole book could be wrapped up in less sugar, less caffeine, more veg, and moderate activity. That's all I really needed to write,
Yeah. Yeah.
Veg
I
is so
be,
important. The veg is so important for all the nutrients. It does make you feel better, when you have a lot of veg in your diet. Well, I
yeah.
don't like the word diet, but I
No,
don't like the word
but
diet,
it
but
is. No,
intake.
I get it. I've been eating a lot more veg recently. But my diet was terrible. My diet was bad. It was I was one for going to McDonald's and with the boys that I was kind of with, and they were going to McDonald's. I was like, I'll get one as well. And you just do it for the sake of it, but
Mm,
not realizing the effect that it has to your body.
mm.
I mean,
The thing
so
is, sorry,
so yeah, yeah,
when I've struggled, right, which has been many, many times
mhm,
over the past 30 years, if
yeah,
not more, right? More than 30 years, actually. I grew up, my mum was fantastic. She made us proper home cooked food, and I'd never had a ready meal in my life
yeah,
until about, what, say, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Um, and I actually always used to think, oh, ready meals, they're terrible.
mhm,
But see, when you're struggling,
yeah,
especially the past couple of years since my partner passed away last year, I would always cook for us, and he would always say, that was delicious. It was really nice. I would always get that kind of joy of cooking for him,
yeah,
because he was so grateful for it and he just really
yeah,
enjoyed it. And he was always like, that was delicious, or that was really
yeah,
nice, and occasionally he would cook himself for us both. But when he passed away, I had to go on the ready meals. When
aye,
you're struggling,
yeah,
you do what you can. You focus on the basics and you do what you can when you're
yeah,
struggling, because otherwise it's a slippery slope,
yeah. And
So
I
ready meals,
suppose
takeaways.
but because this is a massive the word trauma, right, is always going to be there, right, but this is a massive impact on your life.
Mm,
And when you go back, if you were to go back to straight like cooking for yourself, it takes
mm,
you back to, it's like PTSD almost. It takes you right back to the fucking person who you used to cook for.
mm,
So
mm,
throwing in a ready meal is like, it's convenient, and it stops you from going to that pain, because that's exactly what you've been doing. Obviously
mm.
now, I think you've been able to get back to cooking.
I'm getting there slowly.
Yeah,
What
slowly.
I've started to do, which is I'm actually really pleased with myself, because what I've done is I have the ready meal, right? On one side of the baking tray, and on the other side of the baking tray, I've got fresh veg. So
Right.
what I do is it's a big breakthrough for me, and
Hmm.
as I said, I'm gradually getting back on track with cooking for myself.
Good.
So yeah, I get the fresh veg, broccoli, cauliflower. You can get packets of those, or frozen's fine. Um, so the ready meal on one side, fresh veg on the other, and I always do broccoli. Not always, but often I'll do broccoli, cauliflower, and asparagus. Right,
Right. Yep.
and there's a wee bit of asparagus left over. Yeah,
Yep.
so and I have half a packet each night, but I do a full pack of asparagus, and the asparagus that's left over, um, I have the next morning for my breakfast on like corn cakes with the dairy-free
Yeah.
cream cheese or hummus.
Yep.
So just put the roasted asparagus on top of that. It's actually
Oh
really nice. I love a
no.
savoury breakfast. It's much better than a sweet breakfast.
Yeah. One of my last meals that I've done for myself was just grilled asparagus with chili flakes on top.
Oh, nice.
And then some
Yum.
lemon. I put in lemon on it as well. And I thought, and it was just asparagus, by the way. I just bought the asparagus and I thought, right, I was going to do half of them, and I actually put half of them on, and obviously snapped the ends off as like you do, and then kind of grilled it, and I
Mm.
grilled it, and I'm like, and I'll just put the rest in. So I just put them all on, and then I put the chili flakes on, and end up going like that. Fucking really nice. But
That's
that's what I had for my
okay.
dinner that night. Don't get me wrong, I had something else later on that night. But it
Yeah,
was beautiful. I loved
yeah,
it.
yeah. Or roast mushrooms, just slicing
Oh,
them up and
I love
frying
mushrooms as
them.
well. Yeah.
Just A good thing to do is actually get not the 1 cal spray oil, because that's rubbish, but just the spray oil. It's I think Tesco's, Sainsbury's, all the main supermarkets do it. So it's just plain rapeseed oil or sunflower oil or whatever, or just olive oil. You're not supposed to use extra virgin olive oil to cook. That's only really for salads and focaccia.
Right. Okay.
And bread.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I get that. Yep.
So it's just a plain olive oil in a spray. They're about what, that size? Sorry, that size.
Aye, that size.
And just spray a wee bit on the veg, and it's just amazing.
Aye.
Really nice, really
Aye.
nice. And it's much better to kind of measure out as well when you're spraying it, because you're not kind of putting loads in, swimming in oil, So 4 or 5 sprays at the most,
What about coconut oil? Do you ever use that?
Yeah, coconut oil is good. That's if you can't have the other ones, that's fine. It can be quite tasty. Actually, the dairy-free cream cheese that I have is mostly coconut oil.
Right. Oh well, okay.
It's made into a sort of cream cheese. It's Life. Not that I'm trying to plug any brands, but
no
I'm actually lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
And I know I told you earlier that I had a pizza for dinner tonight, but it's because it's the weekend.
Aye, it's the weekend. Don't worry about that.
I know, but occasionally, weekend treats are fine. Fuck it.
Aye.
But usually I don't have a lot of dairy, and I don't even have milk in my tea and coffee now. It's oat milk that I use in my coffee.
That's what I use as well.
Nice, yeah.
That's what I use as well.
It's nice. But what was it?
Well, that was the last time in coffee. Actually, it was oat milk that I used, but I'm seriously considering just not touching coffee for a good while. Actually, at my cafe, the girl, she kind of helps sponsor the show as well. So the Cafe Torino in Bishop Briggs, and I said to her today, so I'm after coffee. She's like, what? I said, I'm after coffee. I just want to try it for a few days and just for as long as I can. And she's like, all right, fair dues. Which one? And do you want a tea? And I was like, no, it's hot chocolate. So hot chocolates became my new drink.
Definitely.
So we oat milk. That's with oat milk as well. So aye, it's good.
You can actually get vegan hot chocolate. I know it sounds
the one that she got, the one that she uses, the one that she uses is vegan hot chocolate, and it doesn't actually say vegan hot chocolate, but it says it's suitable for vegans. Right. So I pointed it out to her. I said, I guarantee you that's for vegans, and she's like, what? And she looked on the things, like, oh, you're right, suitable for vegans. So it was good.
Oh, it's so good. And what I do is I like for supper, I'll have like a slice of toast with a dessert spoon of peanut butter.
Aye.
Or, what else would I have? A hot cross bun, toasted with marge. I have the dairy-free marge as well. I've got I could go through all the brands, but I won't.
I know.
I know.
You're actually making me want to quit this and go and get something to eat now.
I'm doing feeling peckish. Well, a mug of mocha, decaf coffee with hot chocolate, and a slice of toast with peanut butter. There you go. What time is it? That's 8:30. That's about the right time. 9 o'clock.
Tesco's still open, so I'm going to jump to Tesco and buy that. That's all I need is the peanut butter. I'll just grab a wee tub. But anyway, so let's talk about obviously a wee bit more about obviously the reason. So you've got 3 self-published books, haven't you?
Yeah, I do poetry as well. I do open mics, recite poetry, recite poetry. So did my partner actually, and we would both do open mics. Kind of reciting our poetry at open mics and get paid sometimes, which was good.
Is that right?
Yeah, pretty nice. I mean, poetry doesn't pay generally.
Oh, but still, a wee aye. What was that? Was that an extra bottle of vino for doing the poetry?
Or both total, so no, but
right.
No, just basically, that doesn't happen very often. But the open mics, you generally don't get paid. I think, poetry doesn't pay unless you're doing it for marketing, for like adverts or whatever. A lot of companies use the sort of poetic kind of, sort of voiceovers for their adverts and all that kind of thing. So that's a pretty cool thing to get into, but it can be quite kind of, it's a bit like commercial art. You know, it's a
Yeah.
bit like, you know, drawing houses and boats, you know,
Yeah.
and, you know, it's commercial art to sell.
Yeah, of
But
course.
yeah, a lot of my poetry, I've got a couple of my books here. So I've got The Homeless Diet. I don't know if you can see
Right.
that.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Manana Attitude.
Oh, right. Okay. Right.
Yeah. I've also that they're self-published as well as the Better Mental Health and Fitness, but I've also got a published book by Dreich. They're based in Fife,
Right.
so Dreich Publishing. So
A wee shout out to Dreich.
sorry,
So what are they called? Dreich Publishing.
Dreich.
Dreich.
Dreich. So they publish poetry, and so my book chap book, sort of stroke pamphlet, is out with them. Gung Ho, how
Right.
I
Okay.
became a fitness instructor. So it kind of goes on about, you know, kind of having some pretty horrible experiences in PE and stuff when I was younger, and then just doing outdoor stuff and loving it, and kind of,
Yeah.
you know, becoming an outdoor activities instructor, and then becoming a fitness instructor, and doing PT and stuff like that, which I don't do anymore. But because I did instruct chair-based exercise classes as well, elderly folk and disabled people before. You know, so with the cool music, you know, the golden old days, you know, the proper music, and they would sing along. It was great. So I used to do that, but no, I'm doing the nutrition advisor stuff now. So
Right. Okay. Also, you're doing the nutrition advisor stuff now. And
yeah.
that's good. So tell me about, obviously, well, as obviously, so if you don't mind me asking, so last June, was very pivotal for you as a person, because you'd a loss, you lost your partner. So was there a build up to that happening, or was it sudden? If you don't mind me asking.
He had lymphoma,
Right.
cancer.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So I was actually caring for him because
Right.
he lived up in. He was divorced. He's got a family. His family
Right.
lived elsewhere. So he lived on his own in Fife. I lived on here, and you know, we'd see each other every week for a few days, and then we'd have our separate lives. You know, so it was cool. It was a kind of compromise, and you know, it was just, it suited us both.
Yeah.
And then he got this cough, and it lasted ages, and I thought, no, that is, you need to go and see about that, you know. So, and I'd keep pestering him. So he went to the doctor, and then they took X-rays, did test, you know, blood tests and stuff like that. Found that he needed a biopsy, so he got the biopsy. It was lymphoma. So, yeah, it just sort of progressed with him. He was getting chemo, and I was looking after him. I was staying up there, and
Oh, Nicole.
it was pretty fucking awful, really.
Yeah, of course it was fucking
Really
awful.
fucking awful. And just seeing him suffering like that, it was. I know this sounds really, really, really bad, but it was actually a relief because he wasn't suffering anymore.
Yeah. No, no, no. I understand that completely. I understand that.
It was just, I've never seen anyone in my life go through such a fucking awful time in life before.
Oh,
I mean, he
sorry.
couldn't even eat. He loved his food, and he couldn't even eat because he had ulcers all in his mouth and on his lips, because that's what the chemo was doing to him. And no, I can't even.
No, I know. There's no need, obviously, then. But it's brave of you to even to go through that, and to even to talk about it, and now what you've got is you've got your meaning now changes in your life. I think it's probably changed for where you were going, because obviously you've had some traumatic stuff happening to you for when you've grown up, and now you're starting to get a grip. If probably the best description, you're getting a grip on what you want to do and who you want to help,
Yep.
and you can do. I mean, you've got free books, and you're only going to keep going, moving forward. Is there people that you support, obviously, through their own journeys? Has that been happening? People asking you for advice, and you're obviously there for them as well. Has that been happening recently?
I would say it's not. Basically, if it gets beyond the point where I feel as a friend,
Mm.
there's not much I can do or say. I will
No.
signpost them to professional mental health
Yeah.
services like
Right. Yeah.
Penumbra or the local, psychiatric services. Um, as I said, they have improved an awful lot, and Penumbra's fantastic. They really have helped me an awful lot. They really are amazing.
Who's that? Sorry.
Penumbra Mental Health.
Penumbra Mental Health. Right.
Yeah, so they've got a website. They're Scottish. It's a Scottish charity, a Scottish organisation. They're affiliated with NHS.
Right. Okay.
And
So how do you spell that?
Penumbra, PENUMBRA.
PEN. Penumbra. So is it PENUN?
M for mother.
M. Sorry. Bra. Right. Okay. And that is that a mental health? Is that a hospital? Is that who is that?
It's
Who
just
are they?
an organisation. They've got like sort of organisations all around Scotland. So they've got the Edinburgh Crisis Centre. They've got one in Dundee that's just recently opened, a crisis centre that's just recently opened in Dundee. They've got all over the country. They've got services for people to access for free to get help for their mental health.
Right. Okay.
Really, I mean, they're incredible. And you might see me on their website.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Of course. I don't know. So is that right? Penumbra organisations. So just type in there.
Penumbra Mental Health. Yeah.
Yeah. Mental health. About that. It's not. No worries. I've just did it because it's obviously I'm new to using this way of doing a podcast, and I think it's going to be definitely a way of doing podcasts in the future.
It's great. Yeah.
It's good, isn't it? It's really good
Yeah.
how the thing is. I'll do that. Let's see. So, Penumbra Mental Health Organisation. So, thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and hopefully in the future we'll get a more collaboration because obviously I know what you've been through, and I suppose I could, if you don't mind me asking you for advice, if I ever get anybody who else, because obviously we're definitely going to cross paths, I think, but I'm definitely going to be now interviewing people, and since I've started interviewing people with mental health, I'm getting all these diagnoses and all these different types of I want to say what would you call it if you've been diagnosed with something, diagnosed with what you've got, for example, that bipolar. Now I've only just read out in bipolar 1 and bipolar 2, and the guy that I'd interviewed, like we spoke about, I've still not got a clue. I've not got a clue what it is, but I can get it by reading all the stuff and then obviously listening to you. Because, like you say, you don't want to read everything because then you might read something and you're like, "Fuck, is that one? Am I going to now get that?" And I know that fucking you're like that.
Am I supposed to have that? Am I supposed to have this? Yeah.
You're trying to tick a box. Oh, fuck, I've not ticked that one yet. Is the fuck that? But no, thank you again for coming on. Again, we've been meaning to do this for a wee while, and yeah. So, what's your plans? What's your plans for the future? What you headed to do now?
Just basically enjoying getting better, enjoying being on. I know it sounds very cliched, but a journey of recovery. Enjoying what I'm doing with the nutrition stuff, and the poetry stuff. And being with my family and just I mean, I don't have any kids of my own, but I've got other members of my family that I'm very close to. Most of my family I'm close to. So, it's just enjoying time with them, enjoying time, so doing the poetry stuff like the open mics and all that kind of thing, and enjoy helping other people with the nutrition advice, because it does make a big difference.
It does. Like I say, what I've got for this conversation is the fact that apart from I need to read your book more, but I was glad you told. I know I should have done that beforehand, but I'm glad that you spoke about the coffee, the coffee, and the fact that I've kind of dropped that the last few days. It's funny how that was one of the first things you picked up on, and how and what's one of the things that is kind of important to drop down. But thank you again for coming on and being part of Green Sunrise. So welcome to Green Sunrise podcast as well.
Thank you so much, Paul. I've really enjoyed it. You really are such a cool guy. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank
you. Take care.
You take care.
Bye.
See you back. Bye-bye.
Bye.